Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Namita Purohit, and I think I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Palak, you want to go mute? Okay, I'm just muting your mic. Yes. Hello and welcome everyone. Nice to be here with all of you again. I'm Namita Purohit, and I'm going to be speaking with a very good friend of mine, Palak from Atlanta. And we're going to talk about how one can recession-proof themselves. There's so many layoffs happening in the tech industry. And we're going to talk about how one can recession proof themselves through getting various skills and especially life coaching skills. I have been watching Palak, because we volunteer in the same community, and I've been watching his work for some time, especially 2011. And he used to be a Dharma coach as well as a volunteer on the side. And, uh, and he has 20 years of tech recruiter experience and he's also a dharma coach. He's been a dharma coach, and he's also a coach for introvert millennials. So without further delay, I'm welcoming him in the studio now, and I look forward to you asking very interesting questions, gaining from this discussion with him, and you gaining some really good insights from this whole discussion today. So let me get him in, and let's have him here. So we have Palak here. Welcome, Palak. Thank you so much here for being on this East Talks with Namita podcast show. And a warm welcome to you. And thank you so much for your friendship and all the various wonderful conversations we've had in the past. Uh, so you have a very interesting journey, 20 years of very solid tech recruiter experience. Last 5 years, you've been a very focused entrepreneur also. And also adding, coaching, which you say you've already been doing, and also adding coaching to that. Very interesting experience here on the table today. So tell me more about, you know, tell me more about your journey. It's very interesting.
Thank you so much, Namita. It's a real pleasure and honor to chat with you here live. Um, yeah, it's been quite a journey for me, actually. After graduating from college, I kind of had a little bit of a experiment with the consulting industry. Learned very quickly that it was not for me. It took some time for me to actually meander my way into the world of recruiting. Spent about a decade and a half as a corporate in-house recruiter before launching my own recruiting business about 5 years ago. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. Along the way, I have really invested myself in my spiritual journey and my personal leadership journey. So that has opened up avenues for me to help others as well. And so I've done quite a bit of coaching on from career coaching, job hunting coaching, to Dharma and personal growth coaching along the way. So yeah, it's been
And LinkedIn profile coaching as well.
LinkedIn
Uh,
profile coaching, resume coaching, name it. I've done it.
yes, you're helping a lot of people. So I just learned something about you, that you were for a decade and a half with a company as a recruiter, and then you just flew solo, started
Yeah,
your own business. What was
yeah.
that like?
Oh wow, that was pretty hair raising, to be honest with you, because corporate life was very steady, very kind of predictable,
Uh-huh.
and it was great. It gave me the foundation I needed. But in 2018, I got to a point where I just felt personally stagnated, and I was just doing the same things over and over again. And
Hmm.
I was thinking to myself, where's the next challenge, right? What's new? What's new for me? How am I going to grow from here? So I really, and I've always had that entrepreneurial bug, even as a little boy. My father made a few attempts at entrepreneurship himself. It
Hmm.
never really worked out for him, but I saw the yearning and desire, and that stuck with me as well. So I decided that the universe told me that this is the time. So I took the leap and launched my own practice, and I'm really really grateful.
It's quite a leap to take while you're raising a family.
It is. It is. We have two kids, and certainly my wife was a little nervous about it. Right? It's like I had this really steady state career, um, so I took a risk on myself. Right? I took a chance on myself, and I'm really grateful I did. I'll never go back. It's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and it's gotten you some freedom. You
Yes,
get the
it
freedom
has,
to do a
and
lot
that
more.
is, yeah. the the freedom, the sense of liberation, actually, that I'm and fear too, right? Two F's, freedom and fear, because
Right.
now I'm responsible only to myself. Now that's freedom, but that also means I really have to step it up. There's no one's gonna be hovering over me telling me what to do anymore. So that means I have
Yeah,
to.
and if you don't do something, it may still happen because the process will take care of
Yes,
itself. That's
yes.
what
And
happens in business.
I gotta be the best boss to myself that I can be. So it's not as easy as it sounds, but it's also awesome in many
It
ways.
takes a lot of courage. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. So, so why did you like you've also added this thing of coaching, introverts
Yes.
to your portfolio,
Yeah.
and tell me a little bit more about that. Why introverts?
Oh, it's a good question. The biggest reason why is, well, honestly, I was thinking about professionalizing my coaching business and practice, and there were
Hmm.
many directions I could go. And I thought, well, who would I want as a coach? Right. That was
Hmm.
the first. I decided, let me ask myself, who would I want? And it hit me that I would want someone who understands me. Right. I would
Exactly.
want someone who lived the life I lived, struggled the way I struggled, rose from the struggles the way I did, and could walk me through the same journey, right? And walk me
Hmm.
and share their best practices, share their biggest mistakes, and how they overcame them, their biggest obstacles, and how they overcame them. So when I answered that question for myself, it became very easy that I need to I need to help introverts because I am one, right? And I want to help people the way I was able to get help myself. I've had variety of mentors and coaches in my life. None of them were particular or specific to the introvert kind of
Hmm.
focus that I have, but they were able to kind of step me along. So I thought, let me take that to the next level and become that introvert focused coach for others.
So what I'm hearing you say is that when people are looking for a coach for their
Yeah.
particular specific need, it doesn't matter whether it's an ICF certified coach or it's a whatever affiliated coach, or
Yes.
which coaching school are they certified from or learned from. What is of significance is that have they walked the same journey and
Yeah.
are they ahead of us, and can they help us with the exact steps that they have taken. And the
Yes.
reason they can help us is because they understand our challenges, and
Yes.
that is what people are looking for in a coach more than all the big name and the other stuff around it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and not to dismiss the certifications. They're
Of
important.
course,
They're
of course.
really important, actually, in my opinion, because it creates a certain baseline standard of
Hmm.
good practice in the industry, right? Because
Exactly.
on the flip side, on the other extreme, we find coaches who should never be coaches because they're just
Exactly.
winging it, right? And they're very good at selling their coaching business, but they're not very good at practicing it. So there's a lot of value to the certifications, but it's wrong to think that the only way to become a coach is by being certified. It has to be married with the coach
Hmm.
who lives and breathes what they're teaching. So I feel both have to be there, and that's a tall order, which I think is important for the coaching industry.
So what I'm hearing is two things.
Yes.
One thing is the coach should be well versed about that particular topic and would have
Yes.
walked the journey. That's the best thing, and plus
Yes.
they have a proper system and a proper structure in place to
Correct.
actually coach and take people from that point A to point B. It's
Exactly.
not just like randomly sitting and like I did this and I did
Yeah.
that, but
There
it's
has to
like
be a
no.
roadmap.
There
Yes.
has to be a roadmap. There has to be a success path that they
Yes.
have created, and that they're able to walk that client through that. And
Yes.
the coaching certifications help people get that systematic approach.
Yes, yes,
Okay, I
absolutely,
see.
and yeah, that they're the certifications create a important structure, right? And
Right,
then it's your job as a coach to build on that structure with what what you bring to the table, right? So
right, right,
that's how you build the whole house.
right. So now let's talk a little bit about the recession that's
Yes,
kicked in, and especially in the tech industry. And you've been as you've been a tech recruiter for the last 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what are the three things? And a lot of people have been laid off at Facebook
Yep.
and Google and Amazon and
Mm-hmm.
you name it, right?
Yeah, long
Uh,
list.
yeah, Microsoft tools, right? So now,
Yep.
as a tech recruiter, what are the three things? And I have pasted the questions out there in the chat that I'm going to ask you. And if people have other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat so that we can, you know, ask Palak. But as a tech recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
with people either who, like they've been laid off or they're like
Yeah.
fearing a layoff and it's across the world,
Yeah.
what are the three things you want to advise candidates to do that can help them recession proof themselves
And it's
or
a
future
really,
proof themselves?
yeah, it's a great and very relevant question, Namita. So the first thing that comes to mind is a little bit of a big picture item. You know, t-
Hmm.
give start putting a spotlight on your professional brand, right? And many of us are shy about doing this. I was for years, right? But understanding that who you are as an individual carries a brand, it carries a reputation. Put a spotlight on that, right? Start paying attention to how you present yourself in person, professionally, especially when you're in the job hunting market, how you present yourself on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and the variety of other collateral that you may be creating to put yourself out there as a viable candidate for a great opportunity. So that's the first thing. The second thing is uh, honing in
So
a little.
just hold on. Like, I just
Yeah,
want to make sure I paraphrase what I've understood is that
sure.
basically you're a brand, you're a product.
Yes.
And even if you're, looking for a job, you need to know how to market yourself. And for that, you
Yeah.
need to have a very solid brand. Okay. Sorry.
Perfect.
Sorry to
Yeah,
break
that's
your
a
flow.
perfect
Yeah.
synopsis. Yeah. uh, Another way of looking at it is you're a product, right? And that product needs good packaging. We know that sometimes the greatest products don't fly off the shelves because the packaging is done all wrong. And so the packaging does matter. Is it everything? No, the substance is inside the packaging, but the packaging does matter. So when it comes to how you, it comes to getting those great new opportunities, the packaging
Right.
does matter. So you have to start paying a little attention to that, a lot of attention to that. Sorry. The
And you were
second thing,
saying, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
the second thing is honing in a little bit on the packaging part is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an extremely powerful platform, right? It's the largest professional network and platform on the planet for a reason. They've and what you need to do is understand all the critical components of LinkedIn, how they tie together, and how they create the third item, which I'm going to talk about, is a positive bias, or what I refer to as building understanding the bias pyramid. So LinkedIn really kind of paved the way for that, but it actually bleeds to your resume and various other dimensions of how you position yourself in the marketplace. The bias pyramid even matters in terms of how you engage in personal conversations with individuals. I'm kind of reframing the idea of a USP that you find in marketing, right? The unique selling proposition, and how you break that down, right? It starts with a high level pitch and how you break that down. So these are the three broad areas. I'm actually working on building a course around this. So that's coming soon. But there are many important dimensions on unpacking yourself and making yourself a more viable candidate. Because I've seen this time and again, where really exceptional people are not able to find exceptional opportunities that they deserve because of not being able to present themselves more effectively. But that actually gets me, your question gets me thinking a little bit. And uh and you're also in the coaching industry for so long, so I'm curious to actually now turn the question on you. What do you think makes candidates or professionals or individuals recession proof?
I mean, I can speak for because I run this whole life coach search. So there are
Yeah.
two things we do, right? Rather
Yeah.
three things now, is we coach people. That's
Yeah.
point number one. The second thing we do is we offer a life coaching certification for people who are trying to up level their skills and even leaders who come and up
Okay.
level their skills. Not that because they want to become professional life coaches, but they want to get bit better at becoming coaching leaders. And the third thing is we also teach people the business of life coaching, as in not just life coaching, whatever. You may
Mhm.
be an individual entrepreneur with some certain skills, how do you market yourself, etc.
Interesting.
My understanding is that recession or no recession, you you know, I agree with what you said about the brand and the positive bias. Uh, what I also feel is the need to pivot
Mm-hmm.
according to the changing circumstances, whether it's a recession or whether it's a new audience that you've been exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing how to pivot yourself according to that situation and pivoting based on your already existing strengths, right? And adding new strengths and pivoting according to the situation, changing the direction of your boat and, going not against the wind, but,
Okay.
getting benefit from the tailwind and, not getting the headwind. And I think for me, I feel that the more people are ready to pivot, the more
Mhm.
people are ready to learn, the more people are ready to make that change. And it takes hard work. It's not that you work hard once and you're going to get a
Yes.
steady stream of income. It doesn't
Yes.
happen. I mean, you know that,
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
Especially when you're doing your own business, you have to continuously keep pivoting. And I feel that the more people can do that, whether as life coaches in the business of life coaching or
Yes.
in the recruiting business or in the job market,
Yes.
those are the people who actually make it big in the world, or are able to sustain themselves in the world. And
So,
that's my understanding.
so sometimes when I have these conversations about pivoting with others, they think, oh, that means I need to just dramatically change my entire career, right? Is that what you're referring to? Just totally
No,
changing the entire.
I don't think. I think we all want to pivot, from a place of strength. I grew
Okay.
up in India.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Yes.
So we used to play with this top, the
Yes.
spinning
Yes. I
top, and you
remember
would
those.
tie this. Probably you played with that toy too when you
Yeah.
came for your vacations, right?
Yeah.
And you would throw it, and then it's pivoting on a particular strength point.
Okay.
And like if you lose that point, that top is useless,
Yeah.
right? So you want to pivot based on your existing strengths and your existing
Understood.
history, like what you've done and what I've done.
Yes.
I had this whole technology background,
Yes.
and then I also had this dharmic coaching and also volunteer coaching, just like you've
Yes.
done for a long time, and women, and my own personal journey of recovery and healing.
Yes.
And I pivoted on that, and I started this whole life coaching professional practice. And and now I'm pivoting again because I see this recession coming. So now we're pivoting by releasing books, having
Yes.
smaller courses that people would like to take and do these things. So not just starting something new,
Got it.
it's not
It
easy
could
to
be
keep starting.
it could be micro pivots as well.
Yes, yes, yes,
Absolutely.
micro pivots, because starting over every time is hard, and then you're
Yeah,
not
it is.
building over your experience. Then your
Absolutely.
experience is out of the window. You're not valuing it. Why would somebody else value it?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Now, what do you think about the life coaching industry? Do you
Yes.
think that is recession proof?
Absolutely. On one condition, right? For me, life coaching skills are recession proof on the condition that you're learning from someone who's been there, done that, right? And I think we started, pointing to that a little bit earlier in the conversation. That if you learn from someone who has experienced what they're coaching, then you can those are time tested right skills that you're adopting, and
Hmm.
it's important, right? Because even if you're not looking to become a full-fledged life coach, right? If you're like, we're focused on the tech industry right now, right? That's what we're talking a lot about. And if you're a tech
Yes.
manager, right, or you're gonna be a tech manager, or they're encouraging you to be a tech manager, then you want to be able to engage other people very effectively. And this is a big challenge in the tech world. I've spoken with, I can't count the hundreds of candidates and professionals I've spoken with over the years who always struggle when it comes to managing, right? They're very good in the tech part, right? That's what they were trained in, and that's what they've honed their skills in for so long. But
Right.
they struggle when it comes to engaging others, when it comes to coaching and mentoring, when it comes to uplifting and inspiring and being the leaders, they're the people who are reporting into them want them to be. So they come to me a lot, and say, "What do you think about this? What is there some training available? Is there something I can do to improve these skill sets?" And life coaching is a great way to do that, because the first thing you have to do is learn about yourself, right? And understand yourself better, so that you can better empathize with the people you're leading.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of two stories here. Like what you're saying is that the life coaching industry, the question to you was, do you think that is recession proof? Uh, and it's not just about life coaching. What you're adding value to it, as because of your experience as a tech recruiter, is that even in tech, even for people to get retain their jobs or have that edge at their job. And
Yes.
I would even extend that to an individual contributor, because
Yes.
you may not be in a manager position, but I know that when
Great
I was
point.
an individual contributor, at a certain level, they wanted me to interface with multiple teams and impact
Exactly.
not just my product, but impact, the teams,
Yes.
the other products that were around and that were connected and talking to, that particular
Yes.
aspect of the whole thing. And for that impact and that influence, I really needed people skills and, influencing skills. And
Absolutely.
influencing is not just about convincing them about my point of view, it's about understanding them, where they're
Yes.
coming from, what their challenges are, what their
Yes.
inner barriers are,
Yes.
and make a pitch.
Yes.
You're constantly making that pitch, and for
Making their
that,
case.
life coaching and therefore coaching leaders. And it also reminds me of like this client I had. So she had a very interesting journey with us. She came to me for coaching, and I
Yes.
was her coach. And because in my company we have other coaches as well, so I was coaching her. And then after I coached her, she was like, "Wow, this is amazing! The transformation." Because it's not just my contribution, it's her work
Yes.
also. I can
Yes.
only do 50%. 50% has to be done by the client. And she really
Yep.
did a lot of work on herself and followed through on everything.
Yep.
And she experienced that transformation and she like, I want to learn this. It's going to help me in my job. And,
Yes.
and then she signed up for the coach certification program, and we're opening enrollment for that March 7th to 11th,
Yep.
and then she got those coaching skills, and she, because of her own hard work and her own
Mm-hmm.
talent and
Mm-hmm.
everything, she got two promotions in a year, which is fantastic. I mean, you're in the
Yes.
tech space, you know that, and she lives in the Bay Area.
Yep.
She also became a coach in our team,
Wow.
and I recently met her. I meet a lot of people on Zoom, but it's nice
Yeah.
to meet them in person. And I recently met her, and we spent an hour at lunch once talking about how getting coached and
Mm-hmm.
then becoming a coach actually helped her, nail those promotions and grow in her career,
Wow.
just by learning those skills. And she heads an organization, of 200 people, and so yeah, it's I
These are
guess it's
these are what I call eternal skills. It doesn't matter whether it's year 1,000 or 4,000. The ability to interact and engage and enhance others is going to be there as long as humans are there and interacting with each other. There's always going to be scenarios where we'll need to influence, we'll need to convince, we'll need to make our point of view, we'll need to empathize, we'll need to help and support. So it's never going away. It's really a question of ensuring that you apply those skills effectively, right? And
right.
to do that, you need to learn from someone who's applied them effectively. So
Exactly.
that's the main element.
So all those introverts, if you're looking for coaching, Palak is
Thank
someone
you
who's
so
lived
much.
that journey and also applied it, and I'll watch for him personally. Just a few more things. Uh, we were talking about recession proofing yourself with coaching skills, and that
Yes.
brings to mind another thing I learned from one of my students,
Yes.
uh, who took the coach certification. And I hold all my students in very great respect because they're just
Yeah.
such amazing human beings and so well
Yes.
accomplished in their careers. And this student of mine, much older than me and very accomplished, is a director in one of the tech companies based out of
Mm-hmm.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her that recession is hitting in. So, tell me what you think about this. And she said, even if recession is hitting in, and no matter what is happening, people at senior positions, the intelligent folks, the ones who are like really, leading and, growing ahead, are either taking it as an opportunity to invest in new skills and learn
Yep.
new skills. And even the companies haven't yet restricted their training and learning and
Yep.
development budgets because
Correct.
they believe that this constant growth of individuals. So even if you will not see an immediate ROI, as you get coaching skills, but I guess, we're all going to grow. So that brings me to the next question to you. What about people who have been recently laid off?
Mm.
They like, a lot of people are on the edge.
Yep.
But I know a
Yep.
lot of my friends have been laid off. A lot of people who want to buy our coach certification program,
Yes.
which is starting March 12th, and we have open card March 7th to 11th, and
Yes.
they've written to us that I would have loved to join this program, but I just got laid off. So what could those people do? Like investing in skills. That's
Yes.
that's one thing as a professional, and also investing in life coaching skills.
Yes.
Does that help? Would that take, what should they do? Because they're thinking about, oh, this takes cash. Will I get the ROI as you talked about
Yes.
it? Is this person an expert? And, all those questions. Plus, should I be investing here or should I be saving up? Because I don't know what this downturn is going to be like.
Yes.
So, what advice do you have from them? Because you've been in recruiting and you're a coach. What advice do you have for them?
It's a great question. So, in some way, you kind of answered it. It's really about evaluating the ROI, right? And what does that really mean? Life coaching is never going away. As long as people have struggles, there's going to be someone there to try to help them, right? So, and we call it life coaching, but whether you're a guru or a teacher or a parent or whatever kind of there's always it's always going to be there. So that's a skill set that um will will always need to be refreshed, refined, and applied. So the question becomes, how do I get the most out of this, right? How do I find the right combination of life coaching skills that will get me from point D to point F, right? So that really comes down to making sure that you're learning from the right kind of people, right? You may not necessarily want to go to your parents for all your life coaching questions or answers. They may have some
Right.
advice, but not necessarily to get you to the next level professionally, right? So you have to go to the right source. Um, and what I found is that there are all types of people selling all types of things when it comes to coaching, right? And I
Yeah.
myself have explored so many options, and I learned for myself that there are two critical factors in determining who is the right person to help you
Uh-huh.
get to the next level. The first is that, does that coach, right, have social proof, right? Is there evidence that they have created the transformation that you're looking in others, right? So what do they have? Testimonials? Can you talk to those people? Can you ask them what their experience was like when they
Right.
went through that coaching program and that upskilling program, right? So that's very, very important, is that social proof. And the second part is a taste test. Can you sample what they have taught? Are they giving you a little synopsis of their course or a sneak preview of some sort, right? Like a movie trailer. Can you actually taste what they're offering to make sure that it suits you, right? Because a coach may be great, they may be awesome, but if there's not the right chemistry and the right personality sync and all that, it could affect how you learn and how much you're able
Right.
to absorb.
Yeah, they may be a good coach, but they may not know how to teach good coaching.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So these are the elements that matter a lot to me before I partner with anybody, to be honest.
Those are good points, I think, for our audience to consider before they up level their skills and get into any life coaching program or any other,
Yeah.
skill development program for themselves as we're all dealing with this looming recession.
Yeah.
So getting back to you and your story, uh, you know, how do you use your skills
Yeah.
from 20 years of recruitment
Yeah.
in your coaching? Uh,
It's a great question.
you're especially this coaching for introverts and millennials. How are you
Yes.
using? Because you would be seeing a lot of challenges and a lot of people who didn't get that job just because they were
Yes.
introvert. I mean, I don't know. Tell me
Yes.
more about that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I've had the fortune of speaking with so many candidates, right? Because as a recruiter, it's my job to present the candidates in their best light possible, right? So
Right.
I have to talk to a candidate, and then I have to create a really great presentation of that candidate for the hiring manager to be convinced that this person's worth their time. They're relevant. They have the right combination of skills. invest a little time in interviewing them, right? So for that, I have to unpack so much from the candidate, and that
Mm-hmm.
means I have to question them, and me questioning, sometimes they have to question themselves, right? They have to they realize that, oh wait, there's a gap here, right? Oh wait, I don't have that experience. How do I reframe this? How do I reposition myself? And it makes them, and makes them wonder even more, like, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I do that? So so many of my very, matter of fact candidate conversations veer off into life conversations, and personal development conversations. It happens very naturally. um,
Mm-hmm.
so that really planted a lot of seeds inside of me, that, wow, these conversations are happening very naturally, because it should be, that way. These are, our professional life and personal lives, we're all realizing, are much more intertwined than we think,
Mm-hmm.
right? There it's not such a severe segregation as maybe it has been,
We're not machines.
right? We're not machines. And if we're not having a great day, or a great month, or a great year even, it
Right.
makes its way into our professional life sometimes. And if we're not having a great professional life, a great time at our job, it makes its way into our personal life too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that those conversations come out, and I realize that there's an opportunity here for me to help people in other ways. um, when it comes to the introvert part, it's to be very honest with you, it's really, it's really a question of looking in the mirror for me. Like, who do I want to help? And I said, I who I want to help was me 10 years ago. Like, 10 years ago,
Ah,
where was I? What was I struggling with? What were all the pieces of advice I wanted and needed at that point in time, but couldn't find or couldn't get? Right. And I realized that, and I worked through it the hard way. I did a lot of trial and error, made a lot of mistakes, and learned from them, and grew from those scenarios. Dealt with all types of obstacles, especially within. As an
mhm.
introvert, most of my problems are actually in my own mind. So, how I overcame them to get to where I'm at, how I'm still overcoming them to get to the next level and
Well,
beyond.
you don't seem like an introvert today.
I get that a lot, but the credit is always yours, because if I have trust in someone, if I really like someone and I really respect them, I can talk your ear off. So it's
Thank you.
really, but if it's funny, as an introvert, if I don't trust you and I don't really feel that chemistry and that vibration, that positive,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
empathy, I'll shut
Right.
down. I'll become very quiet. So if I'm quiet, be warned that we have to
You don't
share.
like me.
Yeah, I may not like you. I'm sorry, I'm being honest, but I may not like you. And that doesn't have to last, right? You can grow, I can grow, and we can learn to
Exactly.
like each
Right.
other and learn to grow into each other, which has happened so many times in my life as well. So, I'm not
Yeah.
passing judgment, but
Right. So what I'm hearing is that this whole experience of 20 years of recruitment, and then also the entrepreneurial experience,
yes,
and your own journey of
yes,
being an introvert and dealing with all that comes to being with that
yes,
person is you're more coming and wanting to coach that person you were 10 years ago, and you so wish you had that
yes,
at that time. It's coming from a space of compassion.
yeah,
So if someone's trying to be a life coach, I think one of the important take-home points here that that's coming from this discussion is that compassion and a
yes,
genuine desire to really help the person elevate themselves,
yes,
uh, is necessary for us to be, because then people can see that, when
yes,
you're genuine. It's going to show up in your marketing. It's going to show
that's
in
right.
your website. It's going to show in and right now, like as you're speaking, that genuine desire to, like, hey, I really care about this and I really want to help you in a way in which that can benefit you. So that's what I'm hearing. So all those looking to join the code certification program, think about this also. What has your journey been, and what from your journey can be useful, so that you can and learn how to first respect yourself, respect your own journey, and then take that and share
I,
it with the
I
world
have to
as you.
step in and really put a massive spotlight on something so important you said, is this word of compassion. And it's I'm so happy you brought it up, because Um, as I've been exploring and flirting with the idea of becoming a more professional coach, I'm seeing a lot of, you know, the thing with Facebook, right, is that you start doing certain searches and then all of a sudden you get those ads, right?
I know.
So I've been getting all types of ads from coaches who are selling their certification programs and their coaching,
Mhm.
and it's very high ticket, right? Some of these people are very expensive,
Yeah.
which is fine. It may be there may be a great value there, but what I'm also noticing is that there's this intense emphasis on making a lot of money from coaching, right? This emphasis of just making money and just cashing it in. There's so much money on the table. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong in being a six figure, seven figure, eight figure coach. Nothing, right? But if that's the foundation of your coaching business, then really you have to question what you're really in it for, right? I personally believe that you that it's entirely possible to build a lucrative coaching business without focusing on the lucrative element of coaching, right? By actually going in and saying people first, right? That I'm here to give, and that's what that became the pivot for me. Just about, I would say, about 8 or 9 months ago. That I
Right.
think I'm ready to give back now. I've taken a lot. I've had coaches myself, I had mentors, I have gurus, I have all types of teachers and figures in my life that have
Right.
shaped me so much, right? That have helped me so much. And I've taken a lot. And
Hmm.
this is, I felt it like deep within that this is the time I have to pivot and give back. And that's when I became more and more serious about professionalizing my coaching. And those are the two types of coaches I see, right? And that's why I wanted to talk. I was happy to talk with you because you carry that. You carry this like, okay,
Thank you.
let's give first, and then it'll come, right? Karma is a beautiful thing. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing. It could be a
Yeah.
very beautiful thing.
And even if it doesn't come, there's this joy of serving.
Yes,
Uh, and that's priceless.
yes,
Uh, Also, my experience says that all those people who I get a lot of ads to,
yeah,
and so far I haven't done any ads in my business,
yeah,
though I'm thinking maybe it's the right time because I have some time
sure,
now. Uh,
absolutely,
and but I haven't been done it yet. But what I've seen is that what they promise to you that you can make six
yes,
figures. I actually did a video that can I make six figures as a life coach? You can, but not like on day one. It doesn't. It doesn't happen.
yes.
The way these people
There's no
sell
quick
you that
fix.
whole
Yeah,
thing.
there's no shortcuts.
And if you're attracted to that, that's who you're going to go to.
Yes,
But if you're attracted to no, I want to learn, stepwise, and you'll go towards the genuine people.
yes,
So it's not easy to get to that six figures. I mean, both you and I know that we've been doing
yes.
this, and I think what they do is they sell you a lot of affiliate programs for the technology that you need to set up your online business,
Interesting. Hmm.
and that's how they make their money. They don't tell
Yes,
you that.
yes,
They don't make so much money out of you buying their program. They
yes.
actually make five times more money out of you clicking those affiliate links and buying that convert
That's
kit or
right.
that active campaign
That's
or
right.
that ever webinar or the teachables or the
That's right.
kajabis of the world. And they don't say that to you. Now when you hear all of that and you're like, they tell you I'm going to give you the steps, and you start doing all those steps. When you start doing all those steps, you're still like struggling to just find your voice, like, am I an introvert
Yes,
coach? Am I, who am I? And like, what should I say here and what should I say there?
yes,
And the six figures are not happening, and you
yes,
get frustrated. And I see a lot of people buy those programs and they get frustrated, and
yes.
then they just leave, and then they find the next best thing. So this is not a quick results
No.
industry. That's what I want to call out. And
Actually, nothing,
you're right.
nothing that nothing that creates the kind of ROI we're thinking about is a quick fix. Nothing is. Everything requires a certain level of sacrifice, self-awareness, trial and error, right? So it's important to go in with the right expectations that you're gonna try things, they're not gonna work, and then you're gonna pivot and try different things. So you have to be ready for that journey. The
Yeah.
question is the coach that's helping you through that guide that's helping you through that, have they been there the way they say they have? The what have they been there in the way they're selling you their coaching program, right? And what they're selling you, have they imbibed that themselves and walked through that and stepped you through every step of that, um, the way they have. That's hard to
Mhm.
find. That's hard to find. You it takes a little bit of trial and error with that as well. But I really, I would tell the audience, very sincerely, that, you know spend a lot of time and energy evaluating
Exactly.
before you put your money in, right? Before you invest any significant amount. If it's nominal or if it's reasonable, that's fine. You can make those smaller experiments. But when it comes to putting $10,000, $20,000 into these coaches who promise you the world, you better be very sure that you'll get what you're being promised. And because I
Yeah.
myself have experienced many people getting
Also, the Bhagavatam says this is the world of the cheaters and the cheated,
yeah,
right? So if
yeah,
you want to get cheated, you are going to get cheated
that's
by the six figures because you want to get cheated thinking it's going to happen so
yes,
fast, but it doesn't. So yeah, thank you
no
for that tip
shortcuts.
of, like really doing that due diligence before getting
Yes,
into anything, even for your own self, whether it's right for you and
yes,
also if the program is right for you.
yes.
And yeah, I think that's a great tip for the audience here. So let me see. I mean, we had a certain flow planned out, but I think we're just flowing in our own way. So anyway, it's nice. It's nice. Let me just, yeah. So yeah, I think we also had this question. We kind of, getting led on to that is what is the place for spirituality and dharma in coaching? Because my entire practice is Eastern wisdom and Western psychology.
Yes,
For me, this work has meaning because it's
yes,
connected with spirituality and it's connected with elevating those who come to us, whether to become a coach or to get
yes,
coached by us in their own spiritual path. So our model is that we first help them handle whatever is
yes,
bothering them in the immediate moment, and when
yes,
they're settled with that at the needs and feelings level, I have seen people naturally want to take up spirituality.
yes.
So tell me a little bit more about your thoughts on in your own coaching. What is the space of place for dharma and spirituality?
Uh, Again, a very pertinent question. Uh, there's no coaching for me without Dharma spirituality. So it would not even be part of the equation if I were not invested in my own spiritual growth. So
Mhm.
for me, um, if you're interested basically in being a coach that lives, that operates with tremendous amount of integrity, then then Dharma will absolutely set you on that path. And you want to practice what you preach, and you want to preach what you practice, then Dharma will set you on that path. For me, I started with Dharma. I did, for about
Mhm.
I was a it was probably my first year of college that I got introduced to the world of Eastern wisdom and Bhagavad Gita and Dharma
Mhm.
and yoga philosophy, and I was hooked from day one. So that was back in 19 summer of 1996. So it's quite a journey for me, and I spent a significant amount of time, at
Mhm.
least the next 15 years of doing nothing but
Mhm.
just consuming and learning and digesting as much as I could about Eastern wisdom, and not only the philosophical aspects of things, applying them,
Mhm.
right, practicing them,
Right.
trying them out, making substantive experiments in my own life to validate
Right.
that these things are real and these things are applicable. And that has greatly informed the way I coach and the way I offer my services to others.
So would you take someone who goes like, I want to divorce my wife? Dharma,
Then get a
Dharma question
divorce
for
coach. Then get a coach for what you need, right? So then you need a divorce coach, right? If you need a, so that's the beauty of today's world. There's someone
right.
to, there's an expert for everything, right? So if you're struggling with marriage issues, you're struggling with relationship issues in your life with a boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it may be,
Hmm.
right? There's going to be someone there who's going to be able to step you along, right? Don't get the wrong kind of coach for the right problem. So that's very, very important.
Yeah. The reason I ask you is that I had this one person. He
Oh,
reached
don't
out to
tell
me.
me.
He reached out to me around like June, and he goes like, I'm frustrated, I'm desperate, I'm suffering, like I need your coaching. And I said, go fill out the form so that I know what you're looking for. And then I can have a 20-minute meeting with you to see if,
Yeah.
I'm a good fit for what you're looking for. And that 20-minute call goes into, trying to like, okay, it's 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes, it's 20
Yes.
minutes, let's
Yes.
stop. It doesn't stop. And I said, fine, this person is in whatever pain, let me just listen.
Yes.
And it all turned out into my wife doesn't look beautiful anymore,
Oh my God.
right? So I'm attracted to this other woman. So can you help me get rid of my wife?
Oh no, no,
And
no.
I said, what's wrong with your wife? And then he goes, she just keeps cleaning and cooking and doing her job. She doesn't dress fancy.
Wow.
I'm like, that's such a wonderful wife, the one who's going to be like this beautiful, focused on her beauty, but not focused
Yes.
on the dharma of being a
The
wife. I mean, I don't
substance.
know
Yeah.
what kind of environment would you have at home. And then he goes like, so can you coach me in how to divorce her? Help me understand her psychology and help you divorce. I said, sorry, I can't do that. That's
Yeah.
not what I do. I can help you understand yourself and
Yes.
find some personal growth in yourself so that you can reevaluate your decision,
Yes.
uh, and understand what marriage is and what you're truly looking for, etc. But I
Yes.
can't help you in that. So that's in my practice. I also see dharma influencing me in
Yes.
who I take on as a client versus who I don't, because
It's
I
a
can't
great.
serve this person because they're not looking for
Yes.
what I have.
And not only
And
that, you're being sincere, right? That I'm expert in this, but I'm not gonna waver into this, right? Like, and we sometimes
yeah,
see that, right, with different types of people, coaches, guides, gurus, whoever it may be, that like stick to your level of expertise. And if you know if you're not, just because you're expert in one thing doesn't mean you can be expert. Like, for the example that comes to mind are doctors, right? Sometimes doctors are expert at being doctors, but sometimes they make bad decisions when it comes to financial matters, right? And
exactly,
I've known doctors in my life who've made very bad decisions on financial matters, because there's this there's this thing of overconfidence, that okay, because I'm very good at this, obviously I'll be able to understand these other basic things and be able to,
exactly.
so that's not true in life. And we have to know what our lane is and where we will be able to add the most value to someone, which you've done really, really well.
Yeah, and like even also what am I aligned to? Like
Yes.
we were talking about pivoting and we were talking
Yes.
about that top and that point, and we used to call it what pit two or something, I don't know.
Yes.
And it's like, that's who I am.
Yes.
That's my axis.
Yes.
Uh, I can help you save your marriage.
Yes.
So that's what I
Not
would love
destroy
to
it.
do. Yeah, just because you don't look attractive anymore,
Yeah.
I respect your feelings, but I can't do that. So
Yes.
it's, I think it also informs, dharma also
Yes.
informs us as to what is my axis, what is my
Yes.
value system.
What are your
And
parameters? Yeah.
yeah, and also without judging the other person, I
Yes.
don't want to judge this other person for whatever they are trying to do, and I don't know what kind of samskaras they have and what kind of
Yes.
experiences they
Yes.
have, etc. But is that, and it was a lot of money, but I
Yes.
just said no because I was like, am I going to be happy listening to this for like the next 6 months,
Yeah.
these discussions, and what the content of these calls? No, it's not aligned to who I am.
You,
So
and
yeah,
we don't want to be in a position where we have to fire our clients, right? Because we realize there's so much, but it happens sometimes, right? Even in my recruiting business, sometimes there are clients in the past that, you just didn't want to work with because they were not in line with your values and how they treated candidates, or how they, engaged in the marketplace, or whatever it may be. That's unfortunate, but it's a reality. And that the only way you can figure that out, like you said, is by being clear on your own value system. So.
yeah. I think that's a good point. You can't fire the client, and even in the recruitment, it's nice to be choosy right from the
Yes,
beginning,
yes.
even if it is less business, but it's going to be
Have
less
a smart
stress.
filter, right, for the kind of people you bring into your fold, right?
Right. And we also learn by doing.
Yes,
Sometimes you think you've defined your filter, and then somebody else comes in, and you don't have a good experience there. It's not aligned to who you are. And then you're
that's
like, okay,
right.
that's something I need to add to my filter now.
That's right.
And over a period of time, you start getting a sense of who you can work with. Like I had this one student, and she joined the coach certification program, and she was in the banking industry in India,
Mhm.
working for State Bank, and very senior officer. And then she took a voluntary retirement and wanted to get into coaching because she had very good personal experience in recovering from narcissistic abuse. So she
Hmm.
wanted to get those skills, and then we were talking about ideal client, etc., because they learn all of that in the program,
Yeah.
certification program. And then she said, even in loans, giving out loans to people, we would, over a period of time, we just by looking at the person's mannerisms, we would know
Yes.
if they would be a good person to give a loan to or
Yeah.
not.
Are they trustworthy?
Yes. And are they going to be a nuisance in the
Right.
future, because what they're looking for is not what I have. I
Right.
can't give that to you,
Right.
and then it becomes a problem for them. So yeah, we all have to get better at that filter in
Absolutely.
everything, even in life.
Absolutely.
So you've shared some really great insights about alignment, about and especially for people who are considering, that's the angle I'm going with here, is who are considering to become life coaches or getting those life coaching skills,
Yeah.
either to enhance their own leadership skills at work
Yes.
or to set up their own practice. You
Yes.
brought about some interesting points about being choosing the right certification program, vetting it very clearly about whether it serves your needs or not, whether those people they have testimonials or not, whether you could talk
Yes.
to those people who have done the program, whether the person who is selling the certification program has good experience in coaching as well.
Yes.
And not just that is not enough. You also want to know if they're good at teaching their own system,
That's right.
and so whether they're giving their samples and other things. So we've talked about a lot of different things today: your tech recruitment business, the life coaching industry, the recession, pivoting, personal branding, etc. Time to now start closing this because we've gone a little over time here. And though I would love to have you again, Palak, and
Thank
talk
you.
more about so many different things that we have to share with the audience and serve. Do you have any closing comments for our audience today?
Yes. Yeah, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed the rapport we've had and talking about these very, very important, significant perspectives on coaching, and that anyone and everyone should learn life coaching skills. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you want to be a professional coach or not. At some point in time in your life, there's going to be someone who's going to need your help. The better your, the more aptitude you have in coaching, right?
Mhm.
The better you're going to be able to help them and serve them, right? So this is something that I feel every human being needs to be trained on. That unfortunately we're not. Just some lucky few have the right kind of mentors in life. They end up being great leaders and coaches for others. But everyone needs to understand to some degree how to empathize with others and how to help them get to that next level if they're coming to you for some support, right? So I think this is a universal skill, and there are absolutely not enough coaches in the world, not enough, especially not enough great coaches in the world. So I'm glad you're in the world, Namita,
I'm
and
glad you're in the world.
and offering what you're offering. It's so important, and I encourage everyone to really consider this very seriously.
Can I ask you one more question? It's
Sure.
coming to my mind. I know this was the last question, but I'm just inspired to ask you one
It's
more.
never ending,
I
Namita.
know. Until you start hating me.
Yeah.
Okay, no, what happened? No, this came to me earlier also. I was just writing these notes down as you were speaking. It's as an introvert, and not
Yeah.
just as an introvert, it's a lot of people have so much experience inside.
Yeah.
We all have adult life experiences
Yeah.
and of keeping ourselves together as
Mhm.
we are dealing with life challenges.
Yes.
But not many are able to feel that their experience has value for the next person
Mm,
over there.
yes.
They feel like, oh, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm one of
nothing.
those
Well,
people that for the longest time.
well, and especially being an introvert, you want to be.
Yes.
Isn't perfection another thing
Yes.
for introverts?
Perfectionism. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So, how can we rise and rise from a place of humility?
Yes.
Like, be that leader, be that
Yeah.
coaching leader in life, in the workplace, or as a professional, and
Yes.
rise from that place of humility. And I had this realization recently also
Yes.
that I set a boundary for myself about this is what I will do.
Right.
And then I was in Rishikesh and just being with the Ganga and so much inspiration over there.
Mm.
And I realized that no, I need to rise to this level of
Yes.
coaching now,
Yes.
not because I'm some great fancy person,
Yes.
but it's like when I think about, because when I go to these holy places, I try to
Yes.
pray for all my students, all my
Yes. Yes.
clients, and people working in the team. And I was just looking at each one, and I was like, they're looking for that next level of leadership
That's
from
right.
me, which I'm not providing right now.
That's right.
So what thoughts do you have on that? About this journey that we have lived, and just taking it as a service and
Yes.
being an instrument. Like
Yes.
tell us what inspired. How did you
It's a
work on that
great
in yourself?
question. It's a great question. First and foremost, we're all works in progress. And this is something it took me a long time to accept for myself, that I'm a work in progress. I'm not supposed to be perfect. I have a certain perfectionistic side to myself. That's why sometimes I procrastinate and I don't get things done when I want to get them done. But some of that procrastination is also coming from a sense of imposter syndrome, that I don't believe I belong there, right? I don't really believe that. I don't believe that I have, I bring value, that what I've experienced is valuable. And we have to get past that. There's no other way. There's no other way. You just have to get past that and recognize that what you've experienced is valid, and that there are so many people who need to listen to what you've experienced, that they will actually be better people. They'll be better off listening to you.
Right,
And
right.
you need to come to terms with that, because it's, for so many years I struggled with self-esteem issues, confidence issues, and I still struggle with them. It's not that I've solved these things for myself. I still struggle, but I'm so much better. I'm so much better than I was. And that's what keeps me moving, is recognize, taking a moment, taking a breath. And this is kind of part of my coaching program, where there's the first step is observing with total detachment, right? Just observing as if you were a robot, even what exactly happened and what came out of that situation, and what all that was, and then introspecting on how you've grown from that scenario, how you've evolved, and then acknowledging that you've made progress. Just do that much, and you'll start to gain confidence in yourself, and start to realize that you have a lot of value to offer the world. So that's very, very important, is to just be grounded and acknowledge the progress you've already made. Forget about the progress you still need to make. And that's another part of our introvert nature. We're always looking out there. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But acknowledge the progress you've made, and you realize you have a lot to offer the world.
So it's about being quiet, observing your own progress in that inner silence.
Yes.
Sorry, I have a bad throat today.
No worries.
And then rising, it's not about you when you're
Yes.
becoming a coach. It's you're rising for the people out there
That's right. Right. And
who
it's
would
combining,
benefit from that.
yes, 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 exactly. Combining the element of progress and compassion. Okay, I made progress. How do I help others, people make the same kind of progress, right? Other people in the same scenarios as me. So that when these two things collide, right,
Right.
in a beautiful way, you'll find yourself almost compelled to actually go and create something for others.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Palak. It was great speaking with you, and I'm so happy to do this live with you today.
Thank you so
And
much.
we'll close now. So thank you for being here. I need to take a little bit of a break as I close.
Get some water.
So thank you all for being here in this wonderful discussion with Palak and learning about his journey. He's a coach for introverts, plus he's been a tech recruiter. We talked about so many different things. Already summarized the discussion for all of you. Um, I want to also let you know that we have this coach certification program with ease that I run, and the promotion for that is on. We have open enrollment from March 7th to 11th, and I am also running a free training from on March 7th to 11th on understanding the life coaching industry, the opportunities, the challenges, and the earnings. So there's a free live training as well, and there's open enrollment from March 7th to 11th. And for those who join in between March 7th and 8th, who join the certification program, they also get an early bird bonus, which is about defining their coaching niche. So for those of you who are interested, this is the link, and here we have the link in the chat as well. Looking forward to seeing you sign up, and looking forward to seeing you inside in that program. So thank you so much, and good night. You're in India, but wherever you are and whatever that, wish you a happy day and a happy night. Thank you, and bye bye. See you.